Take me to Suplex City, baby.
You can.
Hey, this is the Toxic Reign Scandal featuring TBK, the Turnbuckle King. We are here at the locker room. Get to see the locker room. Today's topic is going to be what made Brock Lesnar not to return to WWE, and it is why Brock won't return to WWE ever, possibly ever. We may not ever see him in the WWE ring ever again. And reason for that being, we know Triple H did the interview with Brock Lesnar. About Brock Lesnar. We know he talked about it. But we're talking about Brock Lesnar here. We're talking about the multi-time world champion, 10-time world champion. We're talking about the man that is the inventor of Suplex City. The man that does not play around when it comes to these things. The man who was the best combat striker in the history of the WWE. You know, we are talking about a once in a lifetime talent in Brock Lesnar, guys. We are talking about him today, and that's the whole thing we're going to discuss here. What made Brock Lesnar not want to return to WWE? I mean, that's the thing. You guys get your seat at the locker room, get the likes of while we in here. It's going to be a very good discussion. You don't want to miss out, because we're going to talk about why there may be no more Suplex City, and we may talk about how Brock Lesnar, and not only are we going to talk about that, it will be discussion about Brock Lesnar, his influence on WWE. We're going to talk about his influence in his career. We'll talk about that as well. And it's going to be me here at the locker room. I'm discussing with a few guys. Figure 4 TV is one of them. F4 TV is what I call him. But let's talk about it. Let's see who came into the locker room while we here. Let's see who came to the locker room. Figure 4 TV, salute to you. CeeLo, salute to you. That's right, we going old school today. Unhinged Main Event Fro, salute to you. Thanks for coming out, man. This guy has a good channel, man. Good wrestling channel. Check him out. Margaron, long time, long see. He said, what up? And salute KDH and everyone making my return after a break from wrestling content. Hey, you do what you gotta do to keep your mental health in check. So I will never knock nobody for that. CMTV, salute to you. I ain't seen you in a while either over here at the locker room. Yeah, but get your seat at the locker room. We're gonna talk about it. It's a recent discussion that we had of me and Figure 4 TV and a few other people. Check that out, and I may even add my little spin to it as well. But this is a big difference that Brock Lesnar has had. It's crazy how this whole thing has been going on. I just don't see it. I just don't see how he will come back due to the whole allegations and everything. I don't see how he could come back, because my thing is Brock Lesnar. I don't see it. Will he return? That's the question. Will he ever return? And I gotta be honest, I don't see it happening. And it's a very good chance he may not. If he do, that's great. But let's be honest here. WWE got a stacked roster of people, and I don't think they may even need him to come back. May not even need it. But we will see what the whole talk is about it. Brock Lesnar, who's been last seen. We know the last time he was seen was, I want to say, SummerSlam, exactly a year ago. If you guys remember, last time he was seen, was SummerSlam of last year, and he faced off against Cody Rhodes. If you guys remember, he he gave him his props. He lost to Cody in very variable professional fashion. Gave Cody his props. Did what he had to do. Sorry, I got to get that to him. But other than that, though, Brock is definitely a different specimen, and I don't think we're going to see him again. I just don't see it happening. But what do I know? Just the locker room, but I just don't see that happening. I don't. It sucks, but Brock's had a very good career. But I just don't see him returning. I don't see that going down for whatever reason. And Brock, he is a very quiet guy. He stayed himself and everything. So we're gonna see what more about the whole Brock Lesnar situation. So I just don't see this man coming back. He did what he had to do, and I just don't see it going down like that. But Brock has been, had 2 runs with WWE. We know he had a run back in 2000. Signed a developmental contract 2001. 2002 made his debut. 2004 he left. Then he was gone for a while. Came back 2012 up till last year. So it's been a year since he ain't been back. So definitely, guys. I just don't see how this man will come back. I wish he could, but I just don't see it. If there is a difference, if he changes his mind, and I realize too, Brock's made enough good money. I just don't see how that would. I just don't see how that would go down that way. I don't see how it would make sense for any sense of that nature whatsoever. But we'll see what the next move going to be. But I see this man being out. He does not need to come back to WWE for whatever reason. I don't see why he would come back. He's done everything he needs to do. He's been multiple time world champion, like I said before, Suplex City, everything. I don't see why he would. And then 2, look how WWE treated him. Why would he come back to that? Why would he ever come back to that, guys? Let's be honest about that. Why would he ever come back to the company with the allegations was not standing behind him? They was already ready to dump him in the mud. They was already get rid of him. Why would they bring someone like that? Why would he want to come back to someone like that? I don't see why it would make sense for any nature for the man to come back. But we know Brock has always been Brock. Never changed, never done anything. But Brock gonna stay Brock regardless. And I just don't see how this man will come back at all. At least I don't. I remember how much of an impact he always had on WWE, whether he was a part-timer, seasonal, or whatever the case may be. But I don't see this man coming back. And he has some great moments in WWE and in his career. Great moments. Let's not take that away from him. Great moments.
Things aren't getting soft in Suplex City, are they? I guess we'll find.
Yeah, so he had great moments in his career. And I just don't see what makes sense for him to come back at all. I don't see what's the reason for him coming back. But, more will be discussed about it. Let's see what you guys got to say. We got to get these likes up, man. Let's get the likes up. Let's see. Who else came into the locker room here? Come up in here late. Billy Bishop. Billy B, salute to you, bro. Mr. Pro, salute to you. Tamika Washington, what's going on? Margaret Ron says I don't think Brock Lesnar coming back to WWE. His name is cleared, and I doubt if he has anything left to prove. Thank you, Mark. With that being said, you get yourself a yeet for that one.
Yeet.
Yep, I agree. I don't see why he would come back. There's nothing else to prove. It don't make no sense at all. It don't. But we gonna see what else is going on. Education over entertainment. You said I finally got a notification from this channel. Salute to you, man. Appreciate you coming out, man. But we gonna have a discussion about this, guys. Me and a few other wrestling guys. We gonna talk about it. So let's see what the next move gonna be. We're gonna see what else going on, and we are here now talking about the Brock Lesnar situation. We're gonna see if he'll ever come back. Let's get the likes up while we in the building, and we also live from Facebook and X. Get the likes up over there too. Facebook and X. I ain't forget about you over there. So I am live on Facebook, X, and right here on YouTube. So let's get it going. You know, I know most of us want to catch Monday Night Raw. Maybe a little overtime, but we're gonna talk about it. Let's get the discussion going, guys. Let's get it going. Brock too embarrassed. Yeah, definitely too embarrassed. But let's go on. Let's see what's the next move gonna be. Let's talk about it.
Sports and Variety Network, and I got my guy, you know him, TBK, that's the Turnbuckle King, over at the Red Carpet Ring and at the Toxic Ring Scandals. Salute, guys. Starting with you, Uncle Jackie. How you doing tonight?
What's going on? Appreciate y'all having me on. I'm coolin', brother. I'm doing good, man. How y'all, man? Hope everything is good with y'all. I appreciate y'all having me on, too.
Man, I'm having a good old night, man. TBK, how you feeling?
Good. Came fresh on my stream talking about Bobby Lashley. Check that out, Toxic Ring Scandal. Now we coming over. Now we come to Suplex City. We're gonna talk about Brock Lesnar. Let's talk about it.
That's a fact. Brock Lesnar, he closed down Suplex City. Brock Lesnar refuses to sign. He refuses to return to WWE. So for those of y'all that have been under a rock and not paying attention to what's going on, let's go into that, guys.
Brock Lesnar is refusing to return to wrestling despite many people, including Triple H, wanting him to. Rumors have started swirling around online about a potential return to wrestling for Brock. After Triple H was asked about him, Triple H said, "You'd have to ask Brock Lesnar that. Brock does his own thing. So he's up in Canada, I'm sure, watching his kids play hockey and enjoying life. If and when he decides that he would like to do something, we'd be open to the conversation." It shows that Triple H at least is open to Brock's return, meaning that it's up to Brock. There will seemingly be no obstacles on the promotion side. Triple H went on to say that he had discussed a return at Royal Rumble with Brock, but that it ultimately went nowhere. He stressed that Brock is still in the promotion. He's just at home doing his own thing. Brock has not been seen in the promotion since SummerSlam in Detroit last year, after being linked to ex-boss Vince McMahon's trafficking lawsuit. Whilst not explicitly named in the lawsuit, the victim said that Vince asked her to create explicit content for a wrestler that the company was attempting to re-sign. Vince is alleged to have arranged an encounter with the victim and said wrestler, but that it didn't end up happening. Wall Street Journal identified Brock as the wrestler in question, and some fans think that it was him based on his lack of appearances ever since. But now, a source has spoken up to the press and revealed how Brock really feels about returning to wrestling and said it's not something he wants to do. In their statement, the source said, "Brock Lesnar does not plan to return to WWE. He wants to spend time with his family. He's made enough money. While he appreciates the love and support, he doesn't need this anymore." Brock is one of the most successful wrestlers of all time, being famous worldwide, not just for wrestling, but for mixed martial arts too, becoming UFC heavyweight champion before returning to the WWE. He has clearly made a lot of money, and it's known that he enjoys his private life away from the media. With his advancing age and previous diverticulitis diagnosis, wrestling and its grueling schedule must take its toll on his body these days, and he is probably sick of going through all of the physical strain. One fan said, "I'd love to see Brock back, but ultimately I think he's done for good. It makes sense for him to ride off into the sunset while he can. Thanks for the memories, Brock." Another fan said, "No wonder he's not shown his face after getting that poor girl to do those horrible things for him. I bet he thought he would get away with it." For this video's comment question, do you think we will see Brock return? Before you go, be sure to get...
All right, guys. So that's what our question is. You know how we do. We normally go around the panel. So we're going to start with you, Uncle Jackie. Do you think we'll see Brock Lesnar back in WWE?
I don't know, because, I actually know the backstory of what they're talking about, because I followed the Toxic Ring Scandal, you get what I'm saying? So I know some of the backstory, it's not a good look when it comes to essays and, things of dealing with those things of that nature.
Right.
So, I mean, it's going to be a whole bunch of people who's sitting there because they know who was at the helm, who's no longer around anymore. What's this dude's name? McMahon. They know it's all McMahon's doing, but it's like, bro, you were willing participant. It's like he didn't blow the whistle. So, a lot of people are going to be upset about that part. But then you got, I don't think he should, though, because, I mean, we might as well go back to UFC and get beat up or, beat up on people for real.
TBK, man, what's your take on will we see him? Will Suplex City ever reopen for WWE?
Suplex City got burnt to the ground, and the last match we saw him is, I mean, think about it, it's a year. It was last SummerSlam against Cody Rhodes, and he actually went out on a good note. He put Cody over, who's the current undisputed WWE champion. Gave him a dap. He hugged him. I think if he want to go out strong, he did.
Hold the phone. We got our first super chat of the night. Got a super chat from Figure 4 TV. He says for open mic and give everyone in the chat this point a wrench on Good Bread. Yeah, Mark Garon, I gave him a wrench, and I'll give other wrenches out. CeeLo got one. Billy Bishop and Mr. Approach, I think you got one. I'll give you guys a wrench though. And let's go ahead and do that soundbite of open mic night.
Who the hell told you tonight was open mic night, bitch?
All right, let's continue on with the stream. We're talking about Brock Lesnar, guys.
That already. I mean, Brock has nothing else to prove. He wrestled everybody in his second run. He did what he had to do. I can't, except for the Braun Breaker and maybe Gunther. Except for them two dudes, he really has nothing else to prove. And as we can see every week on WWE, they're consistently recruiting new NIL recruits, which means the NIL program that WWE has, starting a performance center. And it's called Next in Line. It's like a recruiting system that helps sets up, they get you former athletes, football, baseball, tennis, track, men and women. If your college career, whatever sport you're in don't work out, they'll set you up in a program with WWE, try you out, train you at the PC. And if it works out, you're a wrestling star. I mean, that program is really going to affect. So this ain't the old days where we have to depend on one big name like a Hulk Hogan or Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Right.
WWE's building new talent every day. I just saw a picture of the new NIL recruits that's going to be on NXT TV soon. And then, they got guys now. So are we in a dire need of Brock Lesnar? No. Now, of course, if he come in, that's a plus, but we ain't got used to not having for a year now. Are we really missing anything anymore? I like Brock, but his time has came and gone. And I don't think he's going to show up no more because, and I don't blame Brock because look at the way he was embarrassed. He had these allegations. He had to go over and clear his name. He had to go through all that. Because WWE was ready to write him off when allegations first hit was that being involved. Now, because he did the work, legal work, now you want me back in the good graces. Like, no, forget you. I'm done.
Absolutely, bro. I agree with that. And guys, do y'all see the pattern between you mentioned Bobby Lashley. Do you see the pattern between Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar? Being that they both are Vince guys, they both quit twice. They didn't get fired. They didn't get released. The company want them, but they quit.
They quit. They both quit on their own terms.
Man, we're gonna have a good.
You want to be technical? I know he's not. He was a big name too. He's also a big guy. He's also a Vince McMahon guy. You know what I'm about to go, Good Bread. Batista, he technically quit twice too. Remember, He quit
Exactly.
initially, and Batista had a second run in 2014. Remember, he was unhappy how the creative was going, so he left too. That's 3 big guys that left WWE twice. I forgot about Batista. He's doing acting now and stuff.
Oh man, that deserve a.
He knows his opponent is completely helpless to resist the submission hold. He's in full-on attack mode now. There's what?
So these old guys seem kind of spoiled. They seem kind of spoiled and stuck in their ways, and bratish. They kind of spoiled bratish. That's what it seemed like to me. Uncle Jackie, what you think now? What you think about that? They quit. It's not like WWE did them dirty. I know a lot of the dirt sheets want to make this into a racism thing, but these 2 guys quit. It's not like the company did them dirty.
If you quit, I mean, you can't really complain or have any say-so. You washed your hands. It's over. Like, I don't even want to hear your input on somebody's podcast. I don't care. You quit. You gave up on the game. You could have came to me. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. But once you quit, it's like you eliminate yourself from anything, from everything. You quit. You gave up.
That's a fact. And we know the company want him back. We know the company begging for him back because he's a big money. He's a big ticket right there. And y'all heard in the report, they quoted Triple H. You know what I mean? Nobody in the IWC like to do any of the research and the work. But we got exactly what Triple H said. And I want you guys to see how he said it. The company want him. If Brock was to come back tomorrow and say, I'm Suplex City open, they going to.
We got one good note. Let's see. John Bill, salute to you. You said something very important right here. You said Brock Lesnar said so many times in interviews he's not coming back to WWE unless Vince McMahon is there. He's not going to ask Triple H. And you are right about that. You get a yeet and a yeah for that one.
Yeet. Yeah. Yeet. Yeah. Yeet. Yeah. Yeah.
That is very, very true. Because we know that, as we stated here, Brock Lesnar is not a Triple H guy. He's a Vince McMahon guy. Remember when Vince McMahon was first announced with the allegation stepped down, Brock Lesnar was going crazy backstage. They had to contain him. Let's not forget about that. Let's continue on, though. You guys been supportive. Thank you all. And I sent wrenches out to many of you guys already. So wrenches are in. But let's continue on, guys. Let's continue on.
Opens Suplex City back up. Let's listen to Triple H real quick.
Potentially, how close is Brock Lesnar for a return?
You'd have to ask Brock Lesnar that. Brock kind of does his own thing, so he's up in Canada, I'm sure, watching his kids play hockey and enjoying life. If and when he decides that he would like to do something, we'd be open to the conversation, but we'll see.
Man, spoken and spun like a true politician, guys. And
Spoken
I want to
and
salute
spun like a true politician.
I mean, by Spot Fights. The link to the documentary that we're about to do a critical reaction and critical review to will be in the description box. It's in there already now. So if you guys want to watch the whole entire documentary to yourself, feel free to go down there and do subscribe to Wrestling's Documentaries by Spot Fight. All right, guys, one word, Spot Fight. The link will be in the description box. So let's get to that. Let's dig a little deeper and get to know Brock Lesnar, the true introvert. If you ask me, I always looked at Brock Lesnar as the real life Hulk. Y'all remember the Hulk? Y'all remember the Hulk series, the Incredible Hulk? That's Brock Lesnar. He's the real life.
I agree with you because basically all a man wants to do is to be left alone.
Fact.
And you see the man in UFC. So it's like, why would you try to disturb this man? If you think for the people who sit here and say wrestling is fake or whatever, he's in the UFC too. So he can really whoop your ass. Like, it's not like he can't whoop your ass. Leave that man alone. Let that man stay in Canada with his kid. One of his, I think his daughter, she does powerlifting. Let him train his kids to be what he is. If that's what the route they want to take and he wants to take, let that man do what he want to do. If he want to come, like they said, and your boy Triple H spoke like a true businessman right there. He didn't speak like Triple H. He spoke like Hunter Hearst Helmsley. If he wants to come back, because he knows that man is a draw too. So if he wants to come back, we're willing to listen. We're willing to talk, sit down, whatever it is. He knows money. He knows how to get that. He's under Vince.
Mm-hmm.
Not in a bad way, neither. I ain't mean that in a bad way. But he knows the game. The game knows the game.
That's why he's the game.
He doesn't portray a character. He's just himself. He's friendly and sociable with the people he likes. But if he doesn't like you, you're in trouble. His former roommate, Shelton Benjamin, talks about it in an interview.
Brock is not acting. Brock is not playing a role. Brock is Brock. He's a bad boy. What you're seeing on TV, that's not an act.
Recent reports suggest we may never see Lesnar in WWE again due to his involvement in Vince McMahon's alleged sexual offenses. McMahon, CEO of WWE, is accused of having supplied Lesnar with women to use as sexual partners. In this documentary, we take a look at Brock Lesnar's dark side. What is he really like?
Don't forget, guys, if you want to watch the full documentary, which you should, go to the link in the description box. The link is there.
USA in the 1980s. Somewhere in the middle of nowhere, a beast is born. Webster, South Dakota to be exact, a small town so far off the map, there's no bigger city nearby as a point of reference. This desolate part of the Midwest is as country gets. Lesnar's...
And that's why he don't want to be bothered, because he grew up in an isolated environment. You know what I mean? So what's a good time to an introvert? No-go. A no-go. That's what's a good time to an introvert. A no-go. If it's too many people, they're not comfortable with that.
Parents raise him on the family ranch. They say Brock wanted to help drive cattle when he was just 4 years old. His parents seem warm, unassuming, the average small-town folk. But it soon became obvious that their child was anything but ordinary. Brock was bullied in school. He got into scrapes regularly. Like many kids, he was thin and stringy, too weak to defend himself. Kids called him Broccoli, and nobody liked Broccoli. Lesnar was afraid of the boys who called him names. Later, they became his best friends, and Lesnar became bully himself. From the age of 14, he started gaining muscle. He was always outdoors, working hard, pushing himself so hard physically that his body couldn't help but build muscle. He also ate more than the other kids, and even most adults.
Yeah, I was always hungry. I was always active. I was always doing push-ups, always doing sit-ups, always working out as long as I can remember.
With his new size came strength. Brock was confident. He wouldn't take anything from anyone anymore, an attitude that would stay with him for the rest of his life. If someone got on his nerves, his default response was to beat them up. Brock says he was a very aggressive child. His wrestling coach says he was hard to rein it at times, and that he had a short temper. The other kids were scared of him. No one wanted to get in the ring with him because Lesnar took it seriously. He put in the effort, and he really liked to win.
But that's what it is. It's just one-on-one. It's basically a legal street fight with a few rules. That's what I liked about it.
He always had a little bit of a temper and was very aggressive.
His mindset is filled with ambition, an ambition to put himself above the competition, to come out on top. It's not enough to participate. Lesnar needs to win. He doesn't care about the education.
I mean, and that's life. Everybody should have that type of attitude. If you put your mind to something, you should put your mind to it to win. You shouldn't do it just because it looks good or because everybody else is doing it because it's trending. You should do it because you want to win. You want to dominate.
educational aspect of sports, and he doesn't care about other people's feelings. What fuels Lesnar is the feeling of being stronger, physically dominating others. In short, he loves to fight. In an interview, he says he was born to fight.
Look like a killing machine, though. Born to fight, fight to kill, but ready to die, but I never will.
Lesnar is a fighter. When people ask him what he wants to do with his life, he's stumped. All his classmates talked about being a firefighter or going to college, but not Lesnar. He wants a job that involves fighting, so at 17, he joins the military. As a soldier, he would defend the freedom of his country with his life. His family is proud, but Lesnar doesn't understand why all of a sudden he should be treated as a hero. All he wanted was a challenge and the opportunity to do what he does best and get paid to do it. However, when he is called in for his military service and subjected to routine health tests by the medical personnel, things take an abrupt turn, and Lesnar is assigned an office job due to his color deficiency. Lesnar has trouble distinguishing red from green, and at times, right from wrong.
Now that's the key. Did y'all guys know that? TBK, did you know that Brock Lesnar got that color deficiency?
Yeah,
I know I
think
did.
that was in that book. That book got mentioned a little bit on my channel. I think that was mentioned. That was touched on a little bit. I knew about him being a nerd and being bullied. I know about that too. That's why he's the way he is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Being around a lot of dudes, and you know, when you be around somebody who was small once, and now they just big as hell. They did that for a reason. They did that for a reason. Like they talking about him doing. Yeah, they're not even talking about him playing football. See, I know I swelled up to play football. Pause. This dude swelled up so he could break somebody legally. Same reason why I played football. But this dude, like, he just kept growing. Like, he's still going through puberty now because he's still getting bigger and bigger. And this is a big, strong, tough. Actually tough because you know he's not soft. Big, tough white dude. That's why I said he looks like a CO. He looks like a straight up CO from up north somewhere, from a real deal prison.
Mountains. From the mountains.
Yeah, somewhere way out there.
his daughter just as big as she looks, just exactly like him and big like him too. His daughter, that's a track. Shot put.
He's just somebody that
big boys.
Yeah, he's just somebody that
he gets himself into trouble. He still loves fighting. He still loves the feeling of physically domineering others. He gets that thrill from winning a bar fight, but not from doing paperwork in the military office. So, he quits. He's disoriented, doesn't know where to go or what to do. Eventually, he starts working for a construction company, a typical small-town job, 9 to 5, living for the weekend, for the beer at the bar, and the rambling conversations that lead nowhere. Only to dream, in a restless sleep, of a purpose. The next stop, college. To say the least, Lesnar isn't the studying type. He skips lectures, doesn't turn in his assignments, and never actually graduates. Still, his time in college did wonders for him because he got back into amateur wrestling. At the University of Minnesota, Lesnar won the NCAA Wrestling Championship in 2000, a huge success. Now considered the best wrestler of his age group and weight class, Lesnar leaves college, not with a slip of paper, but with a contract offer from WWE.
Yeah, you are a dummy. Dummy, yeah. Let me talk to you.
All right. And now we could talk about his debut in Toxic Ring Scandals. I know you know very much about Brock Lesnar's debut in the hardcore division with Vince McMahon.
Yeah, he debuted after WrestleMania 18, the Raw. The Raw versus Hulk Hogan in Toronto. The Raw after that, he debuted and we didn't even know who he was. He was like, who's this big dude? He starts just attacking everything he saw in sight. And I was like, dang. And then he was pushed very quickly. He was feuding with the Hardy Boys. And then I think he beat Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair. Then he won the King of the Ring. Next thing you know, he won that. And then he's challenging The Rock for the title, and he won. I was like, where did he come from? He got pushed quick. This man went on the main roster 6 months.
Yo, didn't he have a crazy undefeated streak for a minute?
That's Goldberg.
That was Goldberg? All right.
He was undefeated, but not like Goldberg, the one I was talking about. Goldberg was undefeated for a long time.
Okay.
Brock Lesnar was the next big thing, rated higher than other young talents like John Cena, Randy Orton, or Batista. Reports of the time say the WWE paid him an enormous salary of $250,000 just to start training for his professional wrestling career with the
Wow. $850,000 rookie.
Wow. Just to train.
Can you put that in perspective, Katie, into wrestling perspective? Like that's
yeah. A normal wrestler that goes to developmental, I think back then it was OVW, Ohio Valley Wrestling at the time, and later on FCW, Florida Championship Wrestling. Then of course now we have NXT. The average salary, even Roman Reigns was paid this. The Tribal Chief, who's in your intro, Roman Reigns, Big E, Bray Wyatt. A lot of them guys mentioned the average salary when you first train developmental is $500 a week. That's starting developmental.
Hey, yo.
Wow.
That's a real. He's getting paid like a main roster guy walking in the door. So when they say later on, Brock Lesnar demanding more money, he has to get paid. Well, that's how you brought him in the door. You all give me $5.
Right.
If I come into WWE, you give me $250,000 and I haven't done anything yet. Man, that kind of sounds similar, right, good Brad? LeBron James got $90 million for a Nike contract and never played an NBA game. Kind of similar to that in wrestling wise. So when you put someone on that pedestal, yeah, they're not going to go down. Well, I got a big name, so I don't need that money no more. I'm going to go down. No, they're going to keep going up. That don't make sense. So they're going to keep going up. So he's always been pushed to the top.
Good point, bro. Good point. It's like you set the bar high. You can't lower it now. Can't lower it now. And TKO is not playing with any of the Vince.
Yeah, let's see what's came in. The Bell 503, salute to you. Another thing about Brock Lesnar I want to add. Brock Lesnar, let's be honest here. Brock Lesnar he's not coming back, and despite the reasons we say right here, if you guys remember, Brock Lesnar did an interview. If you remember, he did an interview a while back. He did with Pat McAfee, and this is what he had to say regarding his whole of Hall of Fame. And I stated this in this discussion here. This is what he felt about Hall of Fame. This how I knew. This was back in early 2022. This how I knew Brock was somewhat done. If you guys remember this part, let's pull that up, shall we? Remember him, Pat McAfee show. Let's see what Brock had to say about this.
Yeah, because we asked Seth freaking Rollins, badass.
Oh yeah.
He's a badass.
Burn it down.
And he's a fucking guy. He's so tough. Man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy.
I actually asked him, I'm like, hey, you still have time to say, nah, I'm not stepping in there with Brock Lesnar. And he was like, what? And I was like, wow, this guy's crazy, dude.
Nut job.
But we asked him Mount Rushmore wrestling. And he said, is it draw or is it in-ring abilities? Now, he had two different groups of people in there. When you think about Mount Rushmore wrestling, you're on a lot of people's list. That has to be pretty fucking awesome. And who are the people you think you have a lot of respect for in the business? You don't have to give Mount Rushmore, but in the business.
Yeah, but I don't
I don't really care or give a shit. I'm serious. I don't. Like, I don't give a fuck if I'm in the Hall of Fame or not. I've done what I did. I don't care. I don't care if I'm leaving a legacy behind. What I do care about is, you know, I'm a good person, good dad, you know, and all that, you know, all that stuff. Like, that's important to me.
Now, when Brock said that back in 2022 and the stuff happening today, fast forward, that's how I know he's not coming back. He said that before, and that's how he always felt. He don't care about no Hall of Fame. He don't care about no Mount Rushmore. Now, Pat McAfee and his co-hosts are laughing, but Brock is dead serious. He dead serious, man. And what he said was undisputed. That's how he feel.
And that is undisputed.
He's not playing around, so the proof is right there, guys. The proof is right there. That's facts. He's not coming back. The man say he don't care about Hall of Fame. He don't care about that. He don't care about that at all. So that was proof right there. If you didn't know, now you know. As Biggie Smalls would say, if you don't know, now you know. Brock is not coming back. He don't care. He don't care about no legacy. So you can't motivate someone like that to come back to the company. And Vince is gone. Come on, man. It's a wrap after that. But let's continue on to see about Brock Lesnar. And let's continue to get those likes up.
Vince deal, they ain't playing with that. They're not covering that. They're not going to chase that.
Era. Well, thing about it is when Brock was pushed like that, remember, Triple H, if you check on Off the Record, he didn't like that. I'm talking about Triple H, the wrestler, not the businessman today. He was like, you know, and he had a point. He said, you came in, you had all these opportunities, you won a WWE title, you had a feud with The Undertaker, of that name, he put you over, and then you quit to go play football. Like, bro, they pushed you. It's something that, what they do with Brock Lesnar, we haven't seen done since then. And then you leave. Nobody was pushed that way. John Cena, Roman, Batista, CM Punk, no one's been ever pushed the way he was. There were guys that were close, but not to the magnitude of Brock Lesnar. No one's ever been pushed like that.
That's a fact. That's fact. And remember, go back to the similarities, even with Bobby Lashley.
Now, that was when I was talking about the whole, you know, Triple H felt some type of way with Brock Lesnar. If you guys remember, he was not too pleased about that. He wasn't too pleased about that, of how he did business, stuff like that. Now, what I meant by that, guys, I was talking about Triple H. This is about Brock Lesnar. He mentioned him in Off the Record interview. And he mentioned him of when he first left WWE. And this was back in 2004, I want to say. So I think you guys, let's take a look back, see what Triple H had to say. He has some quite things to say about Brock Lesnar.
And I'd like to think he didn't like me, but he's probably long forgotten about me. What'd you think of him?
He had such nice things to say about you when I talked to him. Yeah. No,
this is the lying part now.
Yeah. No, you know what? A lot of people had issues with Wesley. I think the official thing.
Really?
With me, he was very, very nice. I think the
huge difference to the WWE.
I think they can. I think they're the next logical step, and I think what they do is expand what our guys can do and what people can see them do. It allows you to see them in different roles outside of the squared circle, and different roles that make people then that watch that movie maybe come back to wrestling and sample that, you know?
So if I'm thinking of seeing a movie, you'd like me to go to see Blade Trinity, right?
I would definitely want to go see it.
And if I'm looking...
Basically, Simon & Schuster, I think they can. I think...
You had a lot of good lies. Let's talk about movies. Blade. Work with Wesley?
It was not a utterly unpleasant experience, but I mean, it wasn't.
Life after wrestling is tough if you're trying.
Wasn't a mega star. We were football when he'd never done it since high school. I don't know what he's doing right now.
No,
I mean, the wrestlers at the same time trying to make them stars, and they make mistakes.
Now that's the part getting on Brock Lesnar. You guys tune into this.
mistakes, and whether people see those mistakes or not, you know, or you start to head one way with a guy thinking he can do this performance, and then he can't. We got to go a different way.
Where does
with it,
Brock
you know?
Brock Lesnar fit in that category?
Right now?
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't. I don't know what he's doing right now.
No,
but I mean,
no. But did he hose you guys?
I think Brock Lesnar hosed himself. He screwed Brock Lesnar.
Because he's not going to be a Minnesota
Brock
Viking,
Lesnar.
right?
Yeah, you know, here's the thing. He turned down a great opportunity in football. I mean, in wrestling, to play football when he'd never done it since high school, had a limited knowledge of it. But you know what? I guess in essence, he did the right thing for himself. He left. He didn't like the travel. He didn't like the constant fan recognition, and he left for that reason. My problem with Brock Lesnar leaving is a lot of people sacrificed to make Brock Lesnar a star. And Brock Lesnar hadn't reached that level yet. He was becoming a star, but he wasn't a mega star. We were trying to get him there, but a lot of people sacrificed to get him there. They put themselves down to get him over, and then he crapped on those people by leaving.
Which is why you bring back names from the past, because they're money. Sean Waltman, X-Pac.
Did you hear what Triple H said about Brock Lesnar? This was back in 2004. So he always felt the way about Brock. Let's play that back. He said Brock screwed himself. Do you think he still feels that way about Brock Lesnar now? This is Triple H, not even the COO, not the chief content officer, not the head of creative. This is just Triple H. Let's see. Let's go back.
And he left for that reason. My problem with Brock Lesnar leaving is a lot of people sacrificed to make Brock Lesnar a star. And Brock Lesnar hadn't reached that level yet. He was becoming a star, but he wasn't a mega star. We were trying to get him there, but a lot of people sacrificed to get him there. They put themselves down to get him over, and then he crapped on those people by leaving.
Which is why you bring back names from the past, because they're money. Sean.
He screwed Brock Lesnar.
Because he's not going to be a Minnesota Viking, right?
Yeah, you know, here's.
He said Brock screwed himself. Wow. I wonder has Triple H always had that animosity towards Brock over the years? And this is 20 years ago. What do you guys think? Spoken and spun like a... Yep, even back then, he always did that.
Spoken and spun like a true politician. I mean...
Wow. Wow, and wow. You guys are saying good stuff. Margaret Ron said because of that, and because Randy Orton broke the youngest champion record at 24 years old. Yep, I covered his hair at the locker room. That's true, Mark. I agree. He broke the record because they were mad. They were mad at Brock. I told you, Vince mad at Brock. Triple H mad at Brock. But I just wanted to cover that. That's to back up my point of what I was saying about Triple H on Off the Record when he talked about Brock Lesnar, how people did a lot to sacrifice for him and he crapped on to play football. This was the interview I was referring to back in 2004 Off the Record. If you guys want to check that out with Mike Landersberg. So with that being said, that is crazy that he said this stuff even then and he felt this way about Brock Lesnar even then. That is wild. But let's get back to what we were saying. I just wanted to back him up claim, you know. But let's get back to it, guys. You guys been good. Keep the likes up. We got 21 people in here. You guys keep it up. X, you too. Hit those hearts over there on X.
Even with Bobby, he quit, but they was promoting him. They were backing him. Vince was about to put him over John Cena, and he chose to just quit and chase behind his girlfriend. That was a hell of a live you did earlier today, or just a few hours ago, an hour ago. That was a hell of an informative live.
Yeah, a woman that he went to her with TNA. That didn't work out. And then she's done. And then he does his TNA thing. Then he comes back to the company. Like, why you come back to the company that you left how he's feeling? I said, well, I say you're a hypocrite. Kind of hypocrite in a way.
It's crazy, bro. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all these big guys. There will be no more of these with TKO in full effect. All that big wrestler getting pushed to the top, everybody got to earn their way now. It's a system now. It's not like that no more. No more getting pushed to the top as soon as you walk in the door. No. We've seen that happen too many times. I mean, the last guy I saw that was pushed like that, even though it was WCW, was Goldberg. He was the last guy before Brock. Him and Brock are very similar. They will push to the top very, very fast. But see, Brock, of course, was a WCW. It owns by WWE now, but it was WCW. Haven't seen it since those two.
Company, everyone who works with him agrees he's the most intense athlete they have ever encountered.
He's the most talented, most gifted athlete I've ever seen in my life.
Built of concrete and steel, and just is the most gifted athlete that I've ever seen.
He is absolutely one of the best professional wrestlers on the planet. When he wants to show up.
WWE scouts rarely make a mistake. With Brock Lesnar, they have discovered a once-in-a-century caliber of talent. Later, Lesnar says God sent him to this world to be a pro wrestler. His rise is meteoric. WWE boss Vince McMahon had never pushed anyone as quickly and as strongly as Brock before. He put all his eggs in one basket, made him the face of the company, had him win the world championship. A daring move by the genius of the wrestling industry, a gamble. Things go well for a while, but soon Lesnar realizes the true challenges of the wrestling business. The jam-packed schedule gets to him, and he longs for the free weekends that a regular job would afford him. Jumping from plane to plane, city to city, his distinctive red face wanted across the country for press calls and TV appearances, wrestling 5 nights a week, living out of a suitcase, and then the constant challenge of social interaction backstage. The touring lifestyle drains him. He's just not cut out for it. Because Brock Lesnar is an introvert, that doesn't mean he's reluctant, shy, a wallflower. Far from it. But introverted people need time alone to recharge and recover. However, with this hectic schedule, that was rarely possible. Lesnar emphasizes...
And that's important. That's a fact. Because an introvert will end up escaping, finding an escape in something that is potentially harming and self-sabotaging. Because they need to escape. They need to get into their ISO zone. So that had to have been torture for Brock. That had to have been torture for Brock.
In interviews, how challenging it is for him to be constantly dealing with people.
I really don't like people. I'm sorry, I don't. That's just who I am. That's why I live out in the middle of nowhere. And I like to go and just get away from the people, and I just like to be left the fuck alone. It just exhausts me. And so I got to go and like recharge up.
Lesnar wants to be left alone, and his lifestyle reflects that. Like his parents.
Man, we got my guy Wally in the ring tonight. What's going on, Wally?
What's going on, everybody? What did you do?
What's good, bro?
What's going on?
He owns a ranch in a remote, rural area. No neighbors, no small talk. His property in Canada is secluded and highly secured, with an 8-foot fence around it and a security gate for entry and exit. This is the life Brock has chosen for himself. But of course, that wasn't possible back in 2004. There were huge expectations for him to perform without fail. He was supposed to grow into an approachable backstage personality, to act as a locker room leader, an extension of Vince McMahon. But with the amount of social interaction that required, Brock found it hard to represent himself in a good light, let alone the company. He resorts to using alcohol, drugs, and painkillers to relax and
See?
Yep. Self-destructive.
You're gonna reach for, you're gonna try to escape. When you out of your comfort zone, you're gonna reach for any escape to get back into your comfort zone. And that's not an excuse, because that's not right, but that's just the facts.
Yep.
Distract himself, becomes increasingly more irritable, and gets himself into verbal and physical conflicts with his co-workers. For example, he once had a fight with Kurt Hennig when they shared an airplane to the next show. Hennig was drunk and provoked Lesnar. Eventually, the situation escalated. Annoyed by the strains of full-time travel, Lesnar tackled Hennig against the airplane door. He almost tore it off its hinges, terrifying all passengers. Around this
Now, what in the lunatic crazy is that? Can we elaborate on that incident right there, guys? Let's go around the panel and let's just share what we know of that incident. Because I had to be filled in on that. I actually had to go back and watch that Plane Ride from Hell, the documentary they had on there. But we're gonna start with you, Wally.
All right, what you wanted me to ask?
The Plane Ride from Hell, the incident between Brock Lesnar and Kurt Hennig.
Oh, see, I ain't gonna lie to you, that's pretty brand new to me. I didn't know too much about that, but just as what they described and told, I say it like this: for Brock to do that to him, he definitely had to do something very irritable to go to that extent. Because to really just drag him to the door hinge and almost literally detach the door hinge off after you ram him to it, that's pretty. He was pretty pissed off. You would have to be because it's crazy.
Yeah, either that or you just are bad emotional. You react. You're reactional. And TBK, can you fill us in? Can you give us some detail on that? Because I know you touched on this over on your channel.
Yeah, they both from Minnesota. They were friends. You don't know they were friends. Before the Plane Ride from the Hell, and Kurt Hennig, aka Mr. Perfect, was a prankster. What he did was
well documented on this channel. He started the feud with the Rougeos and the Dynamite Kids, so he's well documented over here on this channel.
Well, he ran to the wrong one that day. Well, I should say the right one. Because what he did in that Plane Ride, he put shaving cream on top of Brock Lesnar's head, and Brock was pissed, and he chased Mr. Perfect around the plane. Then he got his hands on the emergency exit. Then, of course, the wrestling match was there, and then that's when the whole door hinge thing, and then they said Paul Heyman got in between them, he broke it up. Because they said Brock was really, he really broke down once Mr. Perfect passed away. A little bit after that, it was a year or 6 months after that. But that's how the whole thing started. Once there was a prankster, and Brock, Brock, like you said, introvert, he don't play that, bro. He might put no shaving cream on his head and play games with him. And Brock
That's a fact. That's a fact. Uncle Jackie, you could speak for that. Like, come on, praising people.
Definitely, that's the standpoint I'm gonna go from, because if the man is an introvert and excuse me, he's an introvert, number one. He used to be bullied, number two. Now you're fucking with him, number three. So you just brought up the old shit from didn't I tell you to stop playing? So it's like you ain't respecting me. So now I gotta show you why you gotta respect me. And I love Mr. Perfect. He's one of my top 5 favorite wrestlers. But it's bro. Sir. And then he's drunk on top of that. So he probably was really innocent in the whole thing. But you a big guy too. You're tough, and you a veteran. So it's like, yeah, I'm a mess with the young guy. It probably was some type of, hazing and, just messing with him because, they familiar with each other from, like you said, Minnesota. But, that word introvert, a true introvert who's 270 pounds, 6'3", and is known to be prone to violence, I don't think you want to play with them too much, even if y'all
That's not smart. That's not too intelligent.
No, it's not.
But like Uncle Jackie right on the head. It was a rookie Brock Lesnar, and maybe it was a hazing thing of just playing around. Brock just wasn't going for it. The man was already taking, at this time, he hated to travel, and he took alcohol painkillers. So you add that to the introvert, that's why he broke the hinge off the door. Yeah, that's why he snapped. So
TBK, peep it. And then you got to think about the autograph and people bothering him.
I don't even think he was aware of his surrounding. All he saw was black and red. Remember, he got that color distinguished and shit. So he didn't see nothing. He didn't know. But that was very dangerous to be high in the air like that and hit the emergency door. If that door would have flew open,
Yeah,
everybody
because you
died.
remember he chased him around the plane. He chased him all around the plane. So imagine that scenery. So yeah, you don't want to mess no Brock, bro. No.
Let's get back to the video. Don't forget, guys, we are watching. The link to the documentary is in the description box, so you can watch it. You can watch it for yourself, guys. And salute to the content creator.
This time, the name Brock Lesnar had a distinct reputation as a loner, irritable, unpredictable, a real asshole. You better not mess with him. Soon, Vince McMahon realized his predicament. The next big thing is everything he wanted as a wrestler, but not as a person. Vince needed someone who could represent WWE, and it wasn't Brock. He later found the perfect face of the company in John Cena. But Lesnar doesn't care. He wanted to leave, get out of the company, out of the hell that was working with WWE. Vince was angry that after everything he had done for him, Lesnar would just quit. But Lesnar is done, finished. He signs a dissolution agreement stating that he can't wrestle again until the year 2010. But Lesnar is not the type of person that lets a piece of paper dictate what he can and cannot do. He doesn't care about the contract and moves to Japan to work for New Japan Pro Wrestling, violating the formal agreement he had with Vince. The schedule.
All right, and we're going to stop it right there, and we're going to come back to the documentary, but I want to stop it right there because a lot of people, when they talk about Brock Lesnar's career, they don't talk about his career and the part over there in New Japan. They don't talk about his career over there in New Japan, and they do not talk about how Brock Lesnar is super significant to the reason why everybody gets to wait 90 days now. Back in the days before Brock Lesnar, guys, did you know that Vince will have you out of commission for a whole year, for a whole 12 months? You can't eat, you can't feed your family. But thanks to my guy over at the Toxic Ring Scandals, Red Carpet Ring, they got a book collection over there. They got a matter of fact, TBK, can you let them know while I pull that up? Let them know what's going on over there.
Yeah, well, yeah, you can check this out on the Toxic Ring Scandal, and Gilbert's talking about his book, and he talks about how WWE tried to prevent Brock from competing in another promotion, try to get legal lawyers, everything, and Brock went and got his own team. It was just crazy, man. We all got mad time thinking that, man, Brock is slow for doing WWE. It was the other way around. So WWE was the one doing him wrong at that point. So it was crazy, bro.
All right, guys. So this is not, of course, this is Brock Lesnar's book, but he didn't narrate it. So this is the audio book version, but this is his words.
Olsen, and you'd think I never had that meeting with Vince. In my opinion, everything Vince and I discussed had been thrown out the window. I thought we had an understanding. Obviously, I was wrong. I had to think long and hard about what to do next. Do I just cave in, suck it up, and do what I have to do to make a living? Do I keep fighting this uphill battle where I have to pay 2 sets of lawyers against a company that is intentionally running up my legal tab as a defensive strategy? It took me a little while, but I finally made the decision to keep fighting. I could never look at myself in the mirror if I just tucked my tail between my legs and put up with the way WWE was trying to treat me. I had my lawyers.
And we know how Vince and his team is. This what make him epic. This what make Brock epic because not too many people beat Vince and his boys now. Vince got a bully squad, bro. Vince got a bully squad.
Yep, just like every other big corporation.
Yep.
finalize my deal with New Japan so I could have a few bucks to live on while I spent everything else on the lawsuit. When I cut my deal with New Japan, I made sure to get Brad Ringens in on it because I wanted to use his experience with Japanese management to my advantage and keep him by my side in all my dealings. Plus, I figured going to Japan would be a great experience. I'd pick up some excellent coin, eat some fresh sushi, have some good times with Brad, and deliver a great big fuck you to Vince. That's how I entered the world of Japanese professional wrestling. New Japan Pro Wrestling. My first match in Japan was a triple threat match against Fujita and Chono on October 8, 2005. It really didn't matter who they put in the ring with me. I knew the Japanese crowds were looking for a monster heel. They wanted someone they could ooh and awe about, and I was going to be that guy. I was happy to be working and making money again, but my whole time there, I was waiting for bad news to drop at any moment. That's the mind game a lawsuit plays with you. As soon as New Japan started advertising my first match, the WWE lawyers tried to stop me from appearing. They threatened New Japan and claimed they were going to get an injunction to prevent me from doing the match. Right up until the time I stepped on the plane to Japan, I was actually expecting my lawyers to call me on my cell and say, "Go back home, Brock. WWE pulled such and such legal maneuver and the match is off." Lucky for me, WWE's lawyers were full of shit.
Brock caught him in a bluff move. He caught Vince in a bluff move. Oh, wow. Go ahead, Brock.
WWE.
Yeah, anybody want to add something to that before we continue?
I mean, the dude Brock is an introvert. What do introverts do? Sit alone and most likely think. They think and they think and they think. He ain't out partying, popping no bottles. He's sitting at home figuring out how to win because he's competitive at the end of the day.
Perfectly said, man.
Yep. He never sued New Japan, and they never got an injunction to prevent me from working my scheduled match. But that wasn't the end of the hassle. I was scheduled to wrestle on a couple of shows in Japan in December, and then go back to work their big annual show on January 4th, 2006. I thought all of the shows would go off without a hitch, because while the WWE's legal dogs had barked a lot, they had shown themselves to have no bite. They made all these...
So you mean tell me after all that talk of trying to sue New Japan and injunction and nothing happened? Man, Brock Lesnar. I see why Vince like Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar ain't no punk. Man, Brock Lesnar about that business, man. And that is undisputed.
And that is undisputed.
Shit, Vince had his own problems just like that, except Vince's was kind of worse because his was SA.
Hold the show. Let's hold it. Pump the brakes, pump the brakes. Hold the phone, hold the phone. We got ourselves a super chat for the evening. We got Figure 4 TV for $4.99. His message is keep delivering this content. The IWC needs you, bro. And he wants me to play open mic tonight. I'll be glad to. Let's play it right now.
Who the hell told you tonight was open mic night, bitch?
Hi, we're Visible. Get set to travel this summer with a wireless plan that'll keep you connected on the go. All on a one-line plan with unlimited 5G data and hotspots, just $25 a month.
Thank you, Figure 4 TV. I appreciate the super chat. And yes, I will do my best to keep delivering the content, locker room, scandals, behind the scenes, you name it. Let's continue on because this is a very good topic, guys. Let's get the likes up once again. 12 people in here, 7 likes. Let's get it up. This is Brock Lesnar's time in New Japan Pro Wrestling and a potential lawsuit from WWE threatening him not to appear in New Japan. Let's continue on. Let's continue on.
Threats about forcing me to sit out the October show, and they kept backing down every time. I thought it was a case of the boy who cried wolf. I was wrong. Right before I headed out to Japan for the December shows, WWE filed what is called a motion for temporary restraining order, or a TRO. I wasn't too well versed in these legal terms at the time, but I've sure learned them thanks to my hard-way education from World Wrestling Entertainment and their team of attorneys. WWE asked the judge who was presiding over our lawsuit to issue an immediate injunction against me that would prevent me from wrestling on the New Japan shows. If I decided to ignore the TRO, I would be in contempt of court. My lawyers fought back, but the judge was taking his time in making a decision. You can't tell a judge to hurry up because Brock wants to know whether to get on the plane to Japan or not. So during my whole flight over to Japan, I'm wondering if I'm even going to get to work when I land. I kept thinking how pissed off I was going to be if I had to turn right back around once I landed in Japan because the judge ruled against me and in favor of WWE. The judge, however, never granted the TRO, and I wrestled on and got paid for the December shows. When I got back to the United States, I was told that WWE formally withdrew its motion because they knew it was a loser. They never really wanted the judge to make a decision. In my opinion, WWE's motion, like most of their threats, was just a legal form of harassment intended to make me lose sleep and spend as much money as possible on lawyers. I went back to Japan again.
Wow. So WWE be bluffing people into going into debt. They be bluffing people into going into debt. So because they money long, they'll argue you because they know eventually you are gonna run out of paper and eventually gonna leave it alone and they're gonna get it their way anyway. That's how they move, yo. That's crazy, y'all. What y'all got for that?
Yeah, somebody said that earlier. You know, they're big corporations, so they basically, that's called sweating you out.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically called sweating you out. I don't know which gentleman said it earlier, but yeah, you know, my money long, you know, long money always win.
Right. Whoever have the most money is longer to crack. Whoever got the most money take longer to crack. Wally spoke on that earlier.
Pretty much, I mean, because that's how the game goes. It's like, you know how it is. It's basically like playing chicken, right? You driving, and someone's gonna go against that cliff. Someone's gonna motherfucking play it. Someone's gonna give up. Someone's gonna let them hands go, and they're gonna let go of the case, and they're gonna just submit. But in this case, you know how this is. This is just what it is. It's like playing chicken, but just without actually driving over a cliff. The only thing is, this is about bank versus bank. Are you going to drive over the cliff and put yourself into zero and then put your family on the streets? Or are you going to be able to maneuver against all these, you know, these technicality words and all these infringements and everything that's keeping you downhill and then beat the case and then, you know, weasel your way out of that and then walk away from it all? So.
Facts. That's a nasty game, though. That is a vicious, nasty game, Vince.
Definitely
TBK,
is.
you want to add anything, man? I know this is pretty much your work right here. Great research as always.
Yes, sir.
No doubt. Vince he's so used to so many wrestlers falling for the bait and not doing nothing. Brock was the only person I saw that fought back. And Vince was like, you know what? We ain't gonna draw. This dude's fighting back. And like we said before in the documentary, Brock ain't like everybody else. Brock's one of the higher paid stars, so he could afford to get the legal team. He can afford to keep going back and forth. Average superstars is going to stop. Brock said, "I'm going to keep going," because he said in that book too, "I got to work, I got to eat to take care of my family, so I can't wrestle WWE." That's why he tried to get New Japan. So he had to eat. He wasn't about to just let it stop.
Right.
That's the fact. Who's staticky? Somebody's staticky like a mother tonight.
Ain't me.
But all right, guys. So let's get back to this, man. This is crazy right here. Brock caught a fish. He caught one.
And for their major annual show on January 4th, 2006, and did a few more shows after that. I'm sure it burned Vince's ass that he couldn't do anything to stop me. I was a vengeful person for many years. An eye for an eye wasn't just a saying to me, it was a way of life. In time, I've come to learn just how much this kind of negativity wears you down. But back then, I wasn't ready to accept that truth. My finishing maneuver in New Japan was the very same one I used in WWE. In WWE, it was called the F5. In New Japan, it was called the Verdict. That was my way of sending a message to Vince and his fucking lawyers. I planned on kicking WWE's ass in court.
And he rubbed it in. Like, you don't normally get a chance to win and rub it in. Damn,
Right.
CM Punk, you was talking to the wrong people. You should have called Brock Lesnar up, CM Punk.
That was hilarious.
And I wanted the world to know I was still a top dog whose bite was every bit as bad as his bark, if not better. Once the Inokis realized that Vince was not going to be able to stop me from wrestling for them, they went ahead and built their company around me. We were off to the races. And before anyone knew it, I beat Fujita and Chono in a triple threat match to win the IWGP World Heavyweight title. One of my old coaches used to tell me that 80% of the things we spend our time worrying and having nightmares about never actually happen. We spend so much of our lives racking our brains about things that will never materialize. It's all such a waste of valuable time. But I'll be the first to admit I didn't understand this until I got into UFC.
It's all in your head. The battle is in your head. The boogeyman is you. Beat you. Don't worry about nobody else. Beat you. That's the battle, y'all.
Focused on the truly important things in life. Back when I had to travel all the way to Japan just to earn a living, the sword was still at my throat, and it was tough to have a positive outlook on anything. With all that negativity around me, it didn't take long for me to get back on that vodka and Vicodin kick. Brad called me the other day to ask about this book, and he was reminding me of a match I had with a Japanese wrestler named Nakanishi. Brad thought it was one of the best matches he ever saw me fight.
Yo, he disrespectful, bro. He disrespectful. He's talking about Shinsuke Nakamura right there, guys. And
That's his name? That's
yeah,
his real name?
and Shinsuke don't like him either. So we're gonna get to that. But let's finish this up.
Yes, sir.
And we both remembered that I was half shooting on the poor guy. Unfortunately, that's all I remember about the match. Brad remembers so much more about it. But when you're poisoning your system with pills and alcohol, your memory is one of the first things that gets affected. I can come up with a lot of reasons why I got back on that drugs and booze.
Just remember this part, guys, for when we get back to the dark side of Brock Lesnar documentary by Spot Fight.
Train again. But they're all excuses. My back was killing me at the time, and I was in constant pain. I went into the hospital for an MRI and found out I had ruptured 2 vertebrae, which meant I was flying across the world to wrestle with a broken back. The doctors were telling me my situation was serious enough that they were strongly recommending surgery. No thanks, not for me. I knew too many athletes who had back surgeries and never recovered. I was going to get through it on my own, but that's a lot easier said than done. I was having what is called strong style matches against all the top guys New Japan had to offer. In WWE, everyone performs a very safe style, or as safe as professional wrestling can be, given that the company is built on the name entertainment. In New Japan Pro Wrestling, the wrestlers go out of their way to try to convince the audience that pro wrestling is still somewhat for real. The office actually encourages the wrestlers to go out there and beat the hell out of each other. If someone gets hurt, it's considered good for the business. I didn't mind wrestling strong style, but doing it with 2 ruptured vertebrae was just plain stupid of me. I'd get back into my locker room with Brad and just collapse from the pain. I wasn't about to let anyone know how I was really feeling, so the only way to mask it all was to swallow more Vicodins and wash them down with more vodka. I'm so blessed that I'm alive to tell this story.
Yeah, you are a dummy. Dummy, yeah. Let me talk to you.
because there are a lot of people who went through the same thing as me who aren't around today. Thank God I woke up one morning and decided that enough was enough. I knew if I kept on living this way, I would just one day stop living. Eventually, the odds catch up to you. There's no escaping the inevitability that something will go wrong, whether it's choking on your own vomit while you're sleeping or falling down while you're all fucked up and smashing your head. There's too many ways to fuck up when you've dulled your own senses to the point that you're numb to everything. So, I just stopped. Cold turkey. I didn't stop because I went to some WWE-sponsored rehab. I didn't stop because I went into therapy or counseling or anything like that. I stopped because I wanted to see my daughter, Maya, grow up, and I knew I wasn't going to be there for her if I kept going in the wrong direction. My timing couldn't have been better. The Inokis were having a lot of internal problems with their company, and I knew that New Japan was on a downswing. My time in their organization was quickly coming to an end, but I wanted to go out with a bang. That's where Akebono comes into the picture. Akebono was a big-time national superstar in Japan. Even though he was originally from Hawaii and not Japan, he was respected as a legitimate sports icon, a folk hero, because he was a dominant Japanese sumo champion. I was happy when the Inokis told me they wanted me to do a match with him because I knew we could build it up as the great big American heel champion against the even bigger Japanese sumo legend.
All right, and that's enough for that. For the rest of that, guys, y'all gonna have to go over to the Toxic Ring Scandals, KDH. And wanna guide them on over there while I pull out of a documentary up.
Yeah.
That was hella important.
Yeah, check out Toxic Ring Scandal, aka KDH. Matter of fact, I'll put the link in the chat below. I'll put the link in there below. So guys, you guys want to check out the channel. So I'll definitely do that right now.
All right. We're going to proceed with the documentary now. I had to get that to show y'all what really happened, why he left, what was going on between him and Vince, and now we pick back up while he's in New Japan, guys.
The schedule there is more relaxed, and Lesnar enjoys the change of scenery living in a foreign country. New Japan officials recognize his potential early on and let him win the IWGP Heavyweight Championship in his very first match there. The legal dispute between Lesnar and WWE is eventually settled. Then, in 2006, Brock Lesnar fights Nakamura. The two of them would later meet again in WWE, something Nakamura said he wasn't too happy about. After working with Lesnar, Nakamura was down, withdrew into the backstage area and cried. In an interview later, he said Lesnar behaved disrespectfully, that he looked down on many Japanese wrestlers.
And this would be the guy that Brock Lesnar was drunk and he don't remember, and he was shooting on him, and that's why Nakamura don't respect him. He don't respect him. Salute to Nakamura, yo. Another waste.
The backstage area and cried. In an interview later, he said Lesnar behaved disrespectfully, that he looked down on many Japanese wrestlers and their culture, and that he had no love for wrestling. He's right. Lesnar has no love for the sport, at least not the kind that Nakamura had early in his career. At this point, Brock was just a hot-headed, selfish guy figuring out what he really wants in life. Brock has a hard time keeping his temper in check. Especially as a young man, he struggled a lot with aggression management.
He's an interesting dude. Everything that you've heard about him and read about him is dead on.
You know, he was actually saying things that would probably get him canceled, like homophobic terms that you shouldn't be saying.
One serious incident occurred during his football days. During a joint training session between his Vikings and the Kansas City Chiefs, Brock sees an opponent act disrespectfully towards one of his teammates. Then, at the next play, he takes his shot. Lesnar grabs the man and suplexes him. Right in the middle of the play. Right there on the football field.
Going for a triple! A
Yeah, that boy Lesnar, wild, bro. He gonna get himself hurt. He gonna try that overreacting stuff to the wrong person, and they gonna hurt him. He lucky he lived as long as he lived without an incident.
Nah, you right though. You right, because ain't nobody gonna use their hands for him at all. Nobody's going at him with their hands.
Nope.
You'd be stupid.
Facts.
I see why the football NFL didn't work out there. That explains that.
Yeah, because I didn't know neither.
He's a fighter, and a damn good one. He knows that. That's why he never shies away from a fight. What he doesn't know is that even officially, he would soon be known as one of the best fighters the world has ever seen. Lesnar's football career ends in a car crash. The seemingly invincible Brock Lesnar taken out by an accident. Broken jaw, left hand too, internal injuries, football off the table. After the accident, though, something happened that he would remember for the rest of his life. Brock Lesnar walks into a tattoo studio in Phoenix, Arizona, drunk. He gets a gigantic tattoo, a menacing one. The sharp sword with the knuckle grip starts just above the navel and goes all the way up to the throat, almost into the throat. In his autobiography, he writes about it. I felt like life was holding a sword right up against my throat, so I went under the ink gun because I never wanted to forget exactly how I felt at that time. The tattoo on my chest has so much meaning to me. In some ways it's funny because the period of my life that I'm talking about is a time I so want to forget, but I know I can use this memory as motivation. Lesnar's body boasts other dark motifs. For example, a large demon head with large teeth. Written underneath is the
Now you're an introvert, so you got to be careful with all that demonic stuff now. There, you ain't gonna get good blessings, Brock. That's why your name got caught all up in that scandal there, in that SA scandal. What do you worship now? What you worshiping, bro? But that's a whole nother channel, y'all. Don't forget, y'all can subscribe to my Brutally Honest Good Bread channel or my Mr. Good Bread Celebrity Gossip and Reaction channel, guys.
Also, too, remember how he really got with Sable. Check out at the Consequence channel, too. How he really got with Sable. All that ties to what you're saying.
Okay.
morbid statement, kill 'em all. Surely Brock would have excelled at football too if it hadn't been for the accident, because whatever Lesnar sets his mind to, he dominates. In the UFC, he climbs the rankings and becomes the heavyweight champion, earning him a new reputation as one of the best martial artists in the world. Easily, he destroys the biggest names the sport has to offer and divides the history of MMA into a time before Lesnar and the time after.
Brock Lesnar, nigga, way I'm ready to talk. Brock Lesnar is the new UFC heavyweight champion of the world.
Now let's quickly go around the panel real quick. How did y'all feel about Brock Lesnar's UFC run, y'all? I was shocked. That's all I'm gonna say. I was shocked. Like, wow, he really did it. He's really winning. Like, I saw his loss, but I saw a couple of his wins too. But let's start with you, Uncle Jackie.
Yeah, his run was kind of unprecedented because usually the guys that try to convert to the other side, especially going from wrestling, which is scripted, and you going to really punishing dudes. Like, the only one dude that really punished him was Alistair Overeem. And to be honest with you, I mean, I don't know if that was the case, but Alistair Overeem got found, he was dirty. PEDs, he had the physical enhancements, the physical enhancing drugs or whatever, performance enhancing drugs, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that heavyweight division, that was he took it by storm like he did the WWE. He was really just beating everybody up. And me, when I heard that he made the transition, I was sitting there with my head, my head on my chin, on my fist, like, let's see what this guy's gonna do. And that just adds to his mystique, his man, to be honest, before I forget, Brock Lesnar is something between an introvert and a sociopath. Like, to be for real, that dude is close to being. Yeah, he's close to being Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees. No, Michael Myers. He's close to being Michael Myers. So it's like, yeah, he's for real. He's definitely. I wouldn't want to be in a phone booth with that man at all.
I told you, Uncle Jackie, he remind me of the original Hulk. He's the real life Hulk.
Yeah,
he Incredible Hulk. TBK, let me skip you real quick and let me get to Wally. Wally, man, how did you feel about if Brock Lesnar's UFC run?
So his UFC one was spectacular. As far as like how did I look at it in a lot of ways, I mean, it was pretty obvious. Like, him coming there was like, okay, you're pretty much dominant wrestling. You're overly sized. There was no one in the time frame that he was in really gonna dominate him unless you have strong form Brazilian jiu-jitsu, which shout out to Frank Mir because he was the only other guy to do it. But literally, he would be ragdolling the daylights out of these dudes massively. So I'm like, when he made the switch, I was like, yep, this guy, he's collecting bodies left and right. Like, it don't matter where he goes.
That's crazy. You're right though. Yo, how y'all feel about that Cain Velasquez match? And they tried to make a storyline out of it in the WWE.
Yeah, the WWE part was trash. That was a big part.
Yeah, the WWE part was trash, but that MMA one, boy, I ain't gonna lie. Now that was the first time someone that wasn't his size really ragdolled him. Like, that was crazy.
Yes.
See, the MMA, it don't matter what size you are. It's about, actually, that's like the MMA. Because remember, if y'all remember when it first came out, I used to watch when it first started. You had dudes weighing 190 pounds. You had the Gracie. I don't know if it was Hoist or which Gracie it was. He fought about 300 pounds. The weight, it was no weight division. It was who can fight.
Yeah, it wasn't a weight division at that time.
There was no weight division. So I'm saying Brock was beating everybody up, but those dudes, like, I can't let the like him being big, and maybe he intimidated some, but it's dudes who should have legitimately, because I feel if John Bones Jones was that size or in that division, he's not beating John Bones Jones.
I agree. All right, y'all, let's get back to the video. Salute to Spot Fight. Wrestling documentaries by Spot Fight. Salute to you again.
Actually, he should never have become this successful. His training was short and, according to experts, nowhere near thorough enough to compete on a professional level in the UFC. But human set boundaries and expert opinions mean nothing to Brock Lesnar. This man can break any rule and redefine it through his exception. The only thing that could stop him was his declining health. The doctors say this time it could be life-threatening. Because Lesnar is too sick to be in peak physical condition, he loses the UFC Championship title to Cain Velasquez. Later, after his WWE comeback, he returned to the octagon once more to fight Mark Hunt. His opponent, one of the best heavyweights of all time, was tough, but not tough enough. Lesnar defeated him in an impressive performance, despite evidence of doping. Another one of the greats, Conor McGregor, also returned to the octagon after a longer break. But his return wasn't successful. He says, once you're out, you're out. Apparently, that doesn't apply to Brock Lesnar, someone who McGregor used to make fun of. Lesnar's response is telling.
I take shits bigger than that kid, all right?
In 2012, Lesnar celebrates his WWE return. It's just a job for him, yes, but there are some arrangements with Vince that make the whole thing much more bearable. Lesnar doesn't have to tour as frequently anymore. He makes fewer appearances for more money. He's earned that status.
And see, that's the problem right now. That's why Brock is not in no rush and is refusing to return. Because if you notice, that lumberjack Brock, he was on there every week. We saw him. This last run, Triple H had that big boy working. That big boy was on TV more than we ever saw him underneath Vince. And Brock wasn't fitting to do all that. Brock was not going to do all that.
Vince is cautious. Maybe he's still a bit angry about what happened last time, but from a business standpoint, he has no other choice than to rely on Brock again. So he receives another push like no one has ever seen.
Yep, you wanted to say something?
No, I'm just saying, like, of course. I mean, because when you think about think about it, like, around the time when Brock came back that night, let's be honest, WWE wasn't, like, it was in its way of trying to rebuild itself, but not to the degree that it was in, like, literally, like, you just got Seth Rollins there, if I'm not mistaken. You got a couple of new cats. The talent was on a decline. Like, you was trying to rework talent through the NXT system. There was a lot of things going on in WWE at the time, and it was just not stagnant enough. But when Brock came back, that was a whole new wave of opportunity. I'm talking about a whole new wave of opportunity. And you can tell because Brock was literally in the title picture every waking moment. The next moment you looked at the TV screen and you looked at Raw, I was like, wait, he's champion again? I'm like, yeah.
You're right, though. And we kind of, that's what got us all them damn Brock versus Roman matches. That shit started to get pretty tiring, too. They started chugging that shit down our neck.
Yep. But, hey, that was the thing, though. Because it's like, he was pretty much the same in grace. Because so far, you know, Mr. Hypocrite himself, Mr. John Cena, that cries about The Rock leaving and doing Hollywood. But guess what? What do you end up doing? Leave, did Hollywood.
True.
You can't make it up.
And he gets to break The Undertaker's streak at WrestleMania. Now and then, he pops up in WWE for the paycheck. In 2015, the entire Raw crew was grounded at the airport due to a snowstorm. Many wrestlers and backstage staff members were stuck in one place together. To make the best of the situation, Lesnar spent a lot of money insisting that the hotel bar remain open all night. Alcohol seems to be something he can use to connect with others. Seth Rollins took advantage of that. He knew that Lesnar likes his Mountains Blue, so he brought him an ice-cold six-pack of Coors Light, Lesnar's favorite beer, to the backstage area to break the ice. Dealing with Lesnar is anything but easy. Many people he looks down on, for instance, Dean Ambrose. He never quite respected him. That's why their match at WrestleMania 32 was so disappointing. They just couldn't get along. After the match, Ambrose was frustrated. Unlike his Shield colleagues Rollins and Reigns, he couldn't warm up to Lesnar. Brock still doesn't like a great deal of people, and chances are that will never change. He may be older, more mature now, and not as impulsive as he used to be, but there is still that glint of anger, of untamed aggression. At SummerSlam 2016, he and Chris Jericho got into an argument. At this point, Jericho was already a legend of the sport and a trusted veteran of the wrestling business, but that day, simply a man blind with rage.
He was doing a match with Randy Orton, and he was butchering him with elbows to the head. I didn't know if it was planned or not. Elbows to the side of the head can kill you. Your temple, if you get hit hard enough in the temple, you die. I was fucking angry about it, and Brock came through, decided he wanted to come challenge me, and we got into a little bit of an issue. And I was like, fuck this guy. I don't give a shit how big he is. Like, I don't fucking care. He was actually saying things that would probably get him canceled, like homophobic terms that you shouldn't be saying.
When Lesnar showed up backstage, Jericho confronted him. The two superstars faced off, and a fight was imminent. Fortunately, Triple H, Vince McMahon, and others intervened to separate them. Jericho even threatened to bite Lesnar's nose off. Whether or not he would have survived the attempt is another question.
He might kill me, but he's going to walk around for the rest of his life with no fucking nose.
But Jericho's concern was justified. Orton suffered a concussion at the hands of Lesnar and went out of commission for over a month. This style of wrestling is dangerous. That Lesnar was ruthless about it is not surprising. What's worrying is that Vince, as the decision maker, didn't do anything about it.
Absolutely, bro. Let's touch on that match right there. We just did a review. That was definitely SummerSlam. Man, TBK, what's your take on that right there? Like, what was that about? TBK, you there? Or you muted? Wally, you want to jump in there on that?
Oh yeah, I'm here. Go ahead.
All right.
This was crazy. Wow. Brock, man, I think if it weren't for the whole divertitis thing, I think he would have continued on the UFC.
That was his heart. His heart was definitely in UFC doing this craziness.
Yeah, definitely was. And the only other one I know that did go to UFC MMA and was successful, we don't talk about him enough, Ken Shamrock. The only one I know.
True.
He did way before Brock. He did way before Brock Lesnar. Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
So, why do you want to add something to that massacre? What was that? That was 13, right? That was SummerSlam 13.
Probably.
Or 16.
One or the other. 16. Yeah, so my thing with that is, I say it like this, right? You know, WWE has really had cracked down on the move settings because, of course, certain moves can cause concussions and all that. And WWE tries to be more on the entertainment side than they do on the wrestling side, like other wrestling promotion does. But one of the many things that I look at with this is, I say it like this: for everyone that's crying about Brock Lesnar, doing what he did to Randy, don't get me wrong. Yes, those elbows could give you concussion if you do it, the wrong way. But it's like, I'll tell you right now, was anyone crying and complaining when Randy had did the punt kick to most people that he probably could have concussed the same way?
But Randy caught a real concussion. That punt.
No, I know that, but I'm saying, like, just compare and contrast those like different moments. Like, I'm not saying like what Brock did was wrong. I'm not saying what he did was wrong, and I'm not saying what the officials like Vince and everybody else backstage that allowed that to happen was wrong either. What I am saying is, let's not forget the same person that was doing it. Let's not forget the person that also was doing it through their own creation of the punt kick, which can also cause the same contusion to someone's head if they hit it the right way. That's what I'm saying.
That's why he took the punt kick away from them.
That's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. Like,
there's with curb stomp for a while.
Because curb stomp had to be like very much, maintenance. Like, you got to be careful with that too.
Yeah, that's when the whole concussion thing. At the movie of Will Smith that their research, it kind of was been, like you said, they've been real cautious since the whole concussion thing. They don't want to
because that really can damage your brains to the point where you can look like ish. Like, think about it. Even in boxing, right? They always say, "Hey, watch your punches behind the head because that can really F you up." And there was a particular boxer that got caught like that, and
the Hispanic guy.
I think so. Yeah, his whole life was done for. Like, bro, he was in a wheelchair. He had to be taken care of. He was not the same person, bro.
Yeah, he's still not. He's still in the wheelchair. He's like 50 to 70 pounds heavier because of the medication, and he still look like he was born. It looks like he was born with Downs or with some type of mental disability. It looked like he was born that way. He was Pretty Boy Floyd in terms of Suavemente, Papi Chulo. You know how many pause? You get what I'm saying?
Right, exactly.
You would never know that.
Exactly, and that's crazy. So that's why I'm like, I'm saying we can blame. Like I say it like this: Brock has his part because you know better. That's first and foremost. I don't care what no one tells you. You know better. You know how you can angle the shot. You know how you can, do certain things to make certain things look reasonable, but at the same time safe. At the same time, to the point where you know all that. And plus, the wrestlers got to talk to each other too. Because let's be honest, y'all both in it. Y'all both in on it because they're both telling you what's going to happen when you get to the ring, how you got to play it out and act it out. So a lot of that you have to be very mindful of like how you're doing things and all that, because it can go too far if it gets wrong. And let's be honest, Brock is a very powerful dude. You asking Brock to do something that's a little bit too dangerous for his size and ability, yeah, you might not want to do that.
Yeah, right. The management was wrong on that behalf. Like, I don't even see the booking. Like, what are you capturing by that? I like, only thing I get from that SummerSlam is that was the first SummerSlam that ever ended like that, bro. That should have ended crazy, spooky, like.
Yeah, it was.
Normally they send us home at the biggest party of the summer. They send us home happy and laughing and joking, and not that year.
I think he was just on some bully shit as far as was that Chris Jericho, right?
Yeah, Jericho got mad because Randy Orton is his boy. That's his guy.
Yeah.
But I don't think they filled Jericho in on the ending of these matches because Jericho got a big mouth.
Jericho's 9 to 10. Jericho would never know what the heck happened or why Brock did what he did. It's not none of your business. If you ain't in the match, you would never know. But my only thing is to even on his standpoint is like, you do know someone is writing this. Like, this is where I say it goes both ways. It's like it's on the writers, it's on Vince, and then at the same time it's also on Brock Lesnar. It's like you're in the ring with the person, you know what to do, and you know what looks okay and what don't look okay. If you see someone in pain and you notice that it ain't good to continue doing what you're doing, and it's like, okay, fuck that, scrap it, move on to the next steps faster than ever, end it, and get that man to the back.
Yo, and we kind of glossed over something too, which brings us to this right now too. Was this right after he got suspended for doping in the MMA?
I think it's around that same part. You could say
right.
That.
So why would he bring that style to the wrestling? And he probably do you think he still had it in the system? Because we know Vince ain't testing him.
I think
test Roman Reigns before he tests him.
I think shit is mental shit.
In fact, this the SummerSlam where Roman Reigns was on the cover but did not perform at the SummerSlam because he drug tested dirty. But Brock Lesnar, who just left the MMA drug testing dirty, he was the main event. If I'm not mistaken, can we get that? Let me Google this.
Well, I'll say this because as far as UFC side, they said it was dirty, but there was a lot of things going back and forth. I don't really know. I don't really care. Because that's up in the air as always.
They was mad he's signing back. You think they was trying to dirty him up because he was signing back? He was leaving.
Probably. At the end of the day, he still had 2 more. I think he still had 2 more fights on his contract after the Mike Hunt fight, or neither 3. I don't see there's no real reason for that overall. No. When he took the Mike Hunt, I think that was a 1 fight contract, give or take, if I'm not mistaken. But all I know is whatever that up to that point, it was like he was saying like he did nothing. He was trying to fight that and do everything against it and everything else. And they're saying that he was doing something like that and all that ish. So, it's a pick and choose, a dip and dabble of, certain these drugs that you take, and maybe depending on certain factor points of how they affect the body and everything that can conclude. All I know is this though. The one thing is this: when we saw Brock came back and the style that he was bringing back, like think about it, his submission move now he started using the Kimura, which is an MMA move, which to a lot of people in wrestling they don't know shit about MMA. So you motherfuckers get caught up in that, bitch, your arms ripped, and that she's shown that multiple times to John Cena, to Triple H, to a lot of people. He ragged all those arms off of them bodies and took a nice souvenir with every time he just mauled motherfuckers.
That's right.
My thing is, and that's my thing is like you already know it. Like with Brock, I look at it like you know what time it is. You know you couldn't bring that MMA stuff to wrestling because ain't no one on that ish like that. I mean, there's a few people that was on it, but not a lot of them. Like, there was not a lot of people on that. Hey, trust me, I was still surprised when Undertaker did the what that thing called the go to plaza lot. When he did that, I'm like, oh,
The SummerSlam ending kind of reminded me of that Edge Matt Hardy ending too. Like that was crazy too.
Yeah. You talking about the Roman Reigns? You want that suspension? That was Money in the Bank when he was the WWE champion along with Seth Rollins. That's why Seth beat him like that. He was suspended for 30 days. That is coincidental. You suspend Roman, and this is not the tribal chief Roman. This is the big dog Roman. And Brock, nothing happened to him.
Yeah. But even then, it's like, but that's what I'm saying. Like, with all those timing that Brock was like in his dominance, just coming on in and everything. Let's be honest here. Like, by this time, you gotta think about it too. It's so perfect timing because think about it. Big Show's gone. Kane stepped aside. You had Undertaker, but Undertaker was like here and there. A lot of the big players were gone, bro. A lot of the big boys were gone. Brock Lesnar just had meat child.
Yeah, but you got to remember, we also fumbled his opponent because we still was supposed to get a Keith Lee versus Brock Lesnar match. That they set it up. They planted seeds in the Royal Rumble, and then they fumbled it.
Yeah, because
but and that
against Randy Orton too.
Yeah, but that was but that I ain't gonna lie. I looked at WWE effing that up because it's like, of course they're gonna keep saying that it's Keith Lee, he couldn't stay healthy. It's the same thing that they say about Samoa Joe, but it's like, I mean, these guys. I mean, Samoa Joe been the same size since the time you see him in TNA to the point of Ring of Honor, and now here and then AEW and wherever he's at right now. It's like if y'all saying health conditions is this person's problem, at this point, y'all telling me something else. Now, Keith Lee is a different story because it looks like health conditions is his problem with that size of his because he hasn't been active as far as I can remember on AEW that much. Like, so it's a toughie.
They fumbled that. They fumbled Keith Lee. They fumbled Keith Lee because it's kind of like if they're to let Kevin Owens go right now. Keith Lee is doing the same thing. Like he still was being athletic. He's the only one that really hold the North American title and the NXT title. He did all that unhealthy. So you know what I mean? Like,
I know that. And I know that. But then that's the whole problem that I have with that is like, okay, if this guy was unhealthy for how long he was truly unhealthy for, but then you gave him all the grass rings to do all of this. Every ounce of this and be the first one to do it, and then to be the first one to do it while coming into the main roster, and then you weather him down to just mediocre or mediocrity. It's like, all right, that's fine. Because let's be honest, like we all know that they fucked it up. I mean, they jacked it up, but because there was a lot of matches like the Roman Reigns one, they even signaled him versus Roman Reigns was gonna happen soon enough. They signaled that part.
It's sad booking, yo. They always have a problem. Well, see, they used to have a problem when Vince was booking. He had a problem booking the little guys. Triple H have a problem booking the big guys. Triple H have a problem with these big guys, like even down to the Damian Priest. The way they've been booking Damian Priest.
Oh Lord.
It's the big guys. The Baron Corbin, they can't figure him out. It's the big guys. It's something about the big guys. Strowman, Omos.
I mean,
he ain't been booked. And of course he was green, and he was green at the time. I take that into consideration too.
Yeah, I mean Brock. Strowman. He has his own like life health issues, but even with him, it's like I don't think so. There was a real issue of mass producing him, other than just simply being a big guy that just wants to knock people out of his way, and he'll do whatever it takes to get them out the way. Because when you really think about it, I mean, let's be honest. When we really look at it, right? Braun's clinch to fame was the simple fact of you used to be a white guy. You stripped to being your own man. You started pushing this idea of you can get these hands or get out my way. You start bulldozing everyone out your way, and you climb to the title, and then voila. I mean, you're just pretty much you're just a big machine going to the title. Yeah.
Braun Strowman to me is a product of Roman Reigns. And he's one of those people that they use to get Roman over. Because Braun Strowman's biggest claim to fame is when we hated Roman and we wanted to boo Roman. So when they had Braun Strowman knocking over garbages and picking up shit, chasing Roman around, beating up Roman, we loved Braun. They needed to keep him dominant. Once they start turning these people face, the face character ruins the character overall because now the face character got a smile. I like what they did with him in the Wyatt family as well. But if you're not, like, he's a perfect fit for this Wyatt 6 family because he's a attraction. He's an attraction. You don't got to use him as much. They're not even using any. They got all them characters on the payroll, and they don't use them but nothing. They use Nikki Cross more than they use any one of them. They just now started inserting Bo Dallas in there. But the rest of them, they just chilling. They could have used Braun Strowman for that. Keep that dark side.
He got history with him. I understand why he wasn't over there in the first place. That'll be better than what he's doing now.
It's never cool to see a big man run. Like, why do they think him running around makes us hype, makes us look at him like, wow. A big man is not supposed to run. A big man's supposed to fight and dominate. Never supposed to be running.
Yeah, but it's the way he running is what makes him look dominant, though. Because think about it, when you're able to just run and then bulldoze somebody, that's a little bit dominant.
Yeah, that does come off dominant. I mean, but it's to me.
I mean, you may not like the style. Like, let's agree that we don't like the style. Like, we would like it if he actually put them hands on people and just drop them and all that. Like,
that's fair,
right.
Wally.
So I can get that. But that's why I'm saying, like, that's why his clinch to fame is more so being just a bulldozer than anything else. That's when I'm like, he was nice for what he was used for, but that's pretty much all it. Because he was pretty much that prototype of saying, you don't look him as a good guy, but you don't look him as a bad guy either. But he's just the guy that's telling you, hey, I'm going to bulldoze you out my way so I can get to where I want to be. And if you get in my way, you get these business.
All right, guys, let's get back. Let's wrap this video on up.
Brock Lesnar can be a reckless animal in the ring. That was already the case during his first run in the early 2000s. In an interview, Lesnar proudly recounts how he injured Kurt Angle's neck with hard punches.
Kurt had neck problems way back, but I threw Kurt into the turnbuckle and came in and hit him very hard. And I believe actually that was where his first refracture in the wrestling business came from me. I broke his neck that night. Me and Kurt went at it. You know, he hit me hard and I hit him back harder.
Braun Strowman.
Yo, that was a sociopathic laugh right there. You was spot on with that,
that's what I thought, bro. Sociopath.
You were on point with that. He laughed at breaking somebody. Yo.
Hey, the only thing I gotta say is Kurt Angle never told no lies when he talks about Brock.
Yo,
he never talked about no lies. That nigga too strong, bro. That's just what it is, man. He's just too strong.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
crazy,
you look at anybody.
You heard that shit? Yo, that's crazy.
Yeah, Kurt Angle did a lot of interviews about Brock. Yeah, but remember he boxed the shooting star for us at WrestleMania 19.
Almost broke his neck. He almost broke it.
And Kurt
done. He could have took out himself and Kurt, bro. They would have been done.
Yo.
I mean, they both still alive today, man. That was a very, very risky botch. Very risky.
I don't think that shit was by accident neither. I'm gonna keep it 100. He's a bully. I think he had moments like he's a raging harlot. So he had the moments where you could probably just hit him just a tad bit, accidentally hit him hard, and he gonna try to, delete you by accident, quote unquote.
Facts,
He did it in
because
this match. He did it in
Yep,
this match
because-
right here. The match that we
Braun
watching on the
Strowman.
screen with Braun Strowman.
Yep,
Yep.
close.
Braun Strowman did something he didn't like, and he started to rage out.
Yo.
I could believe that. Hulk mad.
Incredible.
Strowman also felt Lesnar's stiffness in the ring. He's one of the wrestlers Lesnar never really respected. Lesnar wanted to be professional and get the match over with, and everything went according to plan until Strowman laid into his punches too much.
Oh.
Lesnar flew off the handle. His temperament unchanged, he switches briefly into MMA mode. Just for a second, we see him retaliate with powerful punches of his own. It's normal for wrestlers to respond
And he
to
did it right in the
unsafe
head.
moves with
Yo, bro. He retarded. Brock Lesnar got mental issues, bro. And he spoiled.
He
Vince
dubbed
spoiled
son
this
out.
crazy. Vince spoiled this Frankenstein, bro.
Yeah, because they similar.
Mm-hmm.
with a receipt. But unprotected punches to the head should not be taken lightly. Many WWE wrestlers criticize Lesnar for his reaction that day. There are more incidents involving the aggressive side of Brock Lesnar. Even towards Vince McMahon, he doesn't hold back. After the main event of WrestleMania 34, we see a visibly upset world champion throwing his title at Vince. Lesnar is angry with the crowd, who paid no attention to the match and played beach ball instead. He rages backstage, fed up. Only his wife Sable gets him to calm down.
We know what that is in our Red Pill. My Red Pill brothers, we know what time that is. But Brock, Vince, it ain't Vince's fault. But then again, it is Vince's fault because that's what he get for trying to chug that match down our neck. You versus Roman. That's why they was playing with them beach balls that WrestleMania. Because we were tired of watching.
Yeah, they showed them. They showed them. But you know what, though? I'll say this, too. A little bit before they hit the Roman video with him and Roman, I know a lot of people saying that they were mad at him for his actions he took against Braun Strowman. But you know what's funny? A lot of people just don't understand this, but Brock be telling people there's certain people in WWE he didn't even want to work with. He don't even want to be like, he didn't even want to work with certain people. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think he said this once, Braun Strowman was actually not one of them.
Yep.
So it was like, you forcing it, but it's like, all right, you forced it. God forbid if something happened, and I don't like it. Not my fault. And technically, there it is. Because he said that with him, he said that with some other, I forgot who else he said it with. I think he said it with the modern day Maharaja. He didn't want to work with he didn't want to work with him and someone else. But
I don't know. Plenty of them.
yeah, but that's why I was like, hey man, when someone tell you they don't want to work with somebody, man, you may as well just listen. Because
A few weeks later, and he is back to normal. Back home, roaming through the woods in search of game. Brock is an avid hunter and a registered member of the NRA. Hunting is a part of him. There are regulations, of course, but that doesn't mean he'll adhere to them. In 2011, authorities held him accountable for a violation of those regulations. He'd shot a mule deer but failed to tag it properly. The penalty, $1,500 and a suspension of his Canadian hunting license. But that wasn't the only run-in Lesnar had with the law. In 2001, police had arrested him for alleged possession of steroids. That was during his time in the WWE Developmental League, OVW. The substances turned out to be perfectly legal and the police stopped their investigation. Staying in line doesn't make it very high up on the list of Lesnar's priorities. He breaches contracts, dopes in combat sports, hunts in his own way, and doesn't like being interfered with. A conservative Republican and Trump supporter. He loves his freedom and often sees it threatened, mostly by other people. He doesn't like people. He fights people. A few people he loves dearly. A few friends he holds in very high regard. The Undertaker, for example, even though they had their differences, during a UFC appearance of Lesnar, the two of them bumped heads. Dana White remembers in an interview.
Him and Brock have some beef, and Brock walked by him, and he said something to him, and it blew up into that whole thing that happened.
It's like you're at a loss for words here. You want to do it? It was Brock Lesnar right there.
The Undertaker just called me a couple days ago and apologized for that whole thing. Yeah.
Brock Lesnar is like a loaded gun with a hair trigger. He doesn't need a lot to go off. This is doubly true for the people he doesn't respect, who don't respect him. He's a man of conviction, self-righteous, and arrogant. And
take me to Suplex City, baby.
you can. He's a businessman, a beast, and above all, a fighter.
Man, that was an excellent piece. Again, salute to wrestling documentaries by Spot Fights. Word, y'all go check them out. Man, y'all. Wally, you spoke about something. You said Jinder Mahal. What was that whole thing about right there? The whole not wanting to work with Jinder Mahal.
Yeah, as far as I can remember, all I know was he didn't want to work with him. I think there was some plans where Jinder and Brock was going to work with each other. I don't know if it was a title thing in a title picture moment at that point in time or however it was, but I know there was something that was supposed to brew between them. But one thing's for sure, it just never happened because Brock was like, he was just adamant. He just didn't want to work with him.
That's TBK. You got any filler? You got any filler? Any filler on what was that whole thing about?
Yeah, it was the champion versus champion match at Survivor Series. Jinder Mahal not only Brock didn't want to work with him, he lost his WWE title because of Brock Lesnar. You could say he lost that title to AJ Styles, who Brock eventually faced that year because of Brock. Because he had to be WWE, you're going to be champion to face Brock at Survivor Series at that time. Since he didn't want to work with Jinder Mahal, they're like, okay, Jinder, you got to lose your title now because Brock didn't want to work with you. And now AJ won. So that's how that went down. Brock, what he do is he'll work with small guys and popular guys that are really over. Jinder was the champion at the time, but he wasn't really over like that. You know, not in a way to be a superstar, a mega superstar. So that's why he didn't want to work with Jinder. He didn't see no value in him, pretty much. And he don't work with overweight guys either, like Kevin Owens and them other guys. So that's why I was Jinder.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Now, you guys don't think it was probably because it was a heel versus heel thing? You guys think?
I've heard, yeah, that has something to do with it too. That has something to do with it too. But I've seen heel versus heel work out too. It don't always have to be a babyface versus a heel. You could do a face versus face. You could do a heel versus heel. I mean, we saw a babyface Daniel Bryan defeat a babyface John Cena at SummerSlam 13 in the main event in the WWE Championship. That's one of the best matches in SummerSlam main event. That worked out well. You could do a heel versus heel. You got to book it right. You got to book it right. I think Brock didn't want to do it with Jinder because it was his thing. Because he did fight Daniel Bryan the year after that when he was WWE champion. He was a heel. It'll probably work with Daniel. So that's how I know it's some kind of, that ain't true, the whole heel thing. I'm like, you fought Daniel Bryan, though. He had, you know, the whole Planet title thing, the Planet title run he had. That Bryan was a heel. He still worked with him.
So I think he didn't want to work with Jenner because his
That's true. That is
Yeah.
dead true. I forgot about that planet
Yeah,
title.
Daniel Bryan was a heel. He had just turned heel, matter of fact. And he fought Brock the year after he fought AJ in Survivor Series. So I'm like, if he's a heel, because Jenner said in that interview, I was like, Daniel Bryan was a heel too. He had no problem facing Daniel. It's you. It's just you, Jinder. He didn't like you.
Man, now speaking of, I got one more guy that I want to know. What's the beef that he got with this guy? And then we gonna wrap this show on up. But Matt Riddle, guys, what y'all know about the beef between him and Matt Riddle? I thought that would have been a good fight.
Runs his mouth too much. When Matt Riddle was in NXT, he was talking crap about Goldberg and Brock Lesnar. And we all know in the wrestling business, since you're developmental, who are you to run your mouth against legendary guys? Who are you? You're nobody. And Goldberg said it. They interviewed Goldberg. Goldberg was like, who? Well, Matt Riddle said, who is that? Who is that? They didn't, they and once they found out who he was, they was like, I don't want nothing to do with him. Remember, Seth Rollins had beef with him too. That promo they had a great rivalry, but that was some real truth to that. And Seth said it. He said, I don't like how Riddle disrespect guys. He runs his mouth talking about other guys. That's why Seth didn't like him. That's how I know it ain't just Brock. Seth didn't like him either. And neither did Goldberg.
Wally, anything you know on this Matt Riddle thing? I thought they would have worked out.
Pretty much, pretty much the same thing what the rest of the guys were saying. It's pretty much the same thing. It's like he's just talking too much stuff, talking too much out of his mouth. But at the same time, Brock wouldn't even dare work with him either. It was just like, he was just one of those guys that he looked at and it was like, Right. It just didn't suit the deal. Yeah, well, arrogance, but there was not a lot of big pull for Matt Riddle in WWE at that time anyways. It's like he wasn't that guy that you would want to see against Brock. I mean, maybe if you just wanted to, like, if you were thinking differently, but just for where it was and everything you knew, it was like, okay, like you don't see nothing to this at all. It was like whatever.
I think a Matt Riddle match would have made more sense than the Ricochet match with Brock.
Well, they got he has an MMA background too, like Brock. I can see why they say that. They both
right.
Yeah, and then Riddle, what's crazy is he was hot in NXT. That's why they were saying he should fight. It's like we got the main roster.
Right.
And when his mouth, he went down. The Randy Orton thing saved him. The tag team with Randy actually saved him.
Right. Gave him some credibility. Gave him some credibility.
Right, but that goes to show you the fact that Randy had to save him. It shows you why that match would not gonna even be a thing, because you can't be someone that needs to be saved. You got to be someone that does the saving.
See, and I think if he'd have tried that to anybody other than Brock, who is an introvert, it might have worked. I get what he tried to do, but you see how everybody was promoting the Gunther versus Lesnar. Gunther been on the main roster for a while now, and I bet you he never approached Brock Lesnar on some dumb shit. If it happened, it happened. But Matt Riddle got beside himself.
Gunther ain't that kind of guy. Gunther's
right.
Gunther's very quiet. The last time I even heard about Gunther got mad when Bret Hart was talking about him. And he was like, I don't like Bret Hart. Why you badmouth me for? And he don't really say nothing. So I don't expect Gunther to say nothing. But Matt Riddle, who was dope at NXT, he just ran his mouth. Like I said, once it's Brock, it was Goldberg. Remember, Goldberg still had value. He was still a Vince McMahon top guy. So Goldberg said too, like, yo, I don't like Riddle. I don't like him either. So if you got Brock and Goldberg saying that, they're like, yo, bro, you done. You done for it begins.
Shit. And guys, before I forget, one more. What the hell happened with this match right here, guys? What the hell happened with this match? What was the backstory on this? Why didn't he want to work with Dean Ambrose?
Attitude problem. Dean Ambrose, I've actually learned some stuff about him with his book. Dean Ambrose, he got that rebel, I want to do what I want to do attitude. and there he rubs people the wrong way, and I think he rubbed Brock the wrong way. And Paul Heyman even talked about him. Paul Heyman said, he didn't like Dean Ambrose because he got that arrogant. He come off as arrogant to people and too rebellious. And of course, we know Dean Ambrose at that time was on the main roster for a few years. Again, you ain't at the level of Brock Lesnar. They didn't like his attitude. That's the only thing I could hear. They just didn't like his attitude towards certain things.
Man, but was this the substitute? He was supposed to fight Bray Wyatt, and they subbed Bray Wyatt out for Dean Ambrose. Because remember, they started a little feud. They went and touched on a little feud with Brock against the Wyatt family, and then they scrapped it. It just disappeared.
It was like a Royal Rumble type of thing or elimination or something like that. I do remember it being teased, but that was a bad WrestleMania. Out of all WrestleManias, I want to race that year, but yeah, that's the year everybody was hurt. But yeah, Dean Ambrose, he didn't want to do nothing. He had like his attitude pretty much because Dean Ambrose got mad too. He said he wanted to go over the match, and Brock said, "I'm not." That's how I knew he didn't like him. Brock said he ain't doing that with you. I said, it's something going on with that picture.
Wow. Yeah, because they were supposed to have like a street fight match. We was looking for like an ECW match. They had a regular Monday Night Raw type main event match.
Yeah, with chairs everywhere, some kind of crap. I just didn't like it. The whole story was just, it was like it was rushed. They rushed this match. It reminded me of the episode of AEW. You know, you do the one-off match, you rush it, don't tell no story. That's kind of how that was. It's like watching AEW is right now. I'm like, you just want a proper story behind it.
All right, man. All right, guys. Well, we reached our conclusion, so we're gonna go around the clock. I want y'all to give me your final thoughts on the topic tonight.
All right. That is the end of what made Brock Lesnar not to return to WWE. And as you guys saw on the stream, we saw why Brock won't return to WWE ever. And that's a collab that we have here. We may see some more of those in the future at Toxic Ray Scandal at the Locker Room. I appreciate we talk about the great career or run of Brock Lesnar. We know that he had original run in 2002. Then, of course, the second run, 2012 to 13. So we definitely appreciate all the work this man has done. We notice basically how he feels towards WWE. I don't think he's ever going to return. Not that he needs to. He's done a lot in his career. His last match, like I say, he put Cody Rhodes over. There's nothing more to be said. We talk about his time at WWE. And it's greatly, greatly appreciated. So I, for one, will give a yeet and a yeah to Brock Lesnar himself. Yeah. So I thank you guys for coming out to the locker room tonight. Thank you all for all your support. Greatly appreciated. And it's definitely we'll tune into the locker room, keep the notification bell on, and let you guys know when that's my will be putting out content. So greatly, greatly appreciate it, guys. Soon to videos will pop up for Toss Ring Scandal videos. You guys click in the link below. There'll be 2 videos of content of locker room news or tournament, like a SummerSlam tournament or anything else going on in the wrestling world. You guys already know what it is. Until then, it's OUNT.